All right, guys. Hey, we've got T-shirts and you've got questions, so be sure to text, go to tweet edge_of_Indy and get a free T-shirt asking some questions of our guests while we're doing this. So we're back. Are we back? We are back. Welcome back to Edge of Indy, and we're here at Indy PopCon. Indy PopCon, give me a yell! All right. And we're still talking about films, and everybody likes movies, right? All right. So we are joined by a really cool group of a couple of individuals. We've got Jen Handley and Ben Carlson, who both co-founded and are actually co-CEOs of Fizziology. Now Fizziology, great name, but this is such a cool concept. So, Jen, Ben, tell us what Fizziology is all about.
Yeah, so Fizziology is a social media research firm. We focus on audience insights, understanding what audiences are saying, specifically for the entertainment industry. So we work with all of the major film studios, TV networks, directors, producers.
Can I ask you to go a little bit closer to the mic?
Okay.
Unfortunately. So to kind of reiterate, just so I'm spot on, is that this is a social media measurement tool for movies that are about to come out.
Yep. So what we do is we listen to everything that's being said about movies and television and stars on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, blogs. We pull all that together. We take all of those opinions and we convert them into data for the movie studios, so
Beautiful
they can
thing.
understand everything from how to cast their films, so that audiences are excited for them, all the way to predictive analytics to help them understand how big a movie might be.
So basically what you're doing here is doing some testing to be able to see what the public response is. Mm-hmm. Now that public response has to be tied into advertising and the word of mouth, the buzz that's getting out there. So there is also I'm about to go geek on you guys because this is fantastic. Because you're also giving a bit of a signal back to those movies and those producers where they're not performing to create that buzz about their film, right?
Yeah. So we're telling them who's talking, what kind of audience. Is it the same people talking over and over? Do you have new people talking when you put new materials out?
Fantastic.
So you take a movie like Baby Driver, which just came out. Edgar Wright's last film before that, or 2 films ago, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Right. That was a great movie, but it had the same small audience talking over and over again. And with our tools, we were able to see that film had a smaller but incredibly loyal fan base. But with something like Baby Driver, we could see that audience expanding, and they were getting more mainstream audiences who may not know who Edgar Wright is, coming in because it looks like a cool movie. So being able to advise the studio with what's working, and then ultimately, if a movie's going to be, as big as they hope it can be, that's the heart of what we do.
Wow. So this is it's beyond Nielsen, obviously, but it has the Nielsen-esque type of concept.
Nielsen, Arbitron. We talked a lot about all those kinds of rating services when we started this, and we said, if we
and those are archaic. We understand that.
But they're still the currency for television and radio, and so what we wanted to do was be that same kind of data currency, ratings currency for what audiences think about all things entertainment.
Absolutely. Now, as you're measuring the ecosystem, then the ecosystem can also be aware of how they're affecting as well. I mean, to the degree, are you looking at, see, again, I'm just going future thought here. I mean, will you be able to see that the social media accounts that are giving the movies this buzz, right? They're actually helping. I mean, to the degree, are the social media as the public going to be able to see their effect of how buzzworthy?
Totally. I mean, there are movies that have changed casting decisions because of audience reaction in social media.
They didn't change Ben Affleck for Batman.
No,
they did not.
No, but believe it or not, that's actually one that, while it had negative reported buzz, by and large, mainstream fans were really excited about that. It's true. We have data to prove it.
No Batfleck. Just saying. It's fantastic. So literally, you can get not only how well it's going to do in the theaters, but you can adjust casting. You can adjust the concept of the movie almost based on the reception of the audience.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So
how far in advance are you working with these studios?
As soon as the film's announced. So we're tracking from the moment it's announced all the way through casting, all the way through marketing activations. We're tracking every film, announced up to probably 2022.
Yeah, we're working on movies that will not be coming out till the 2020s at this point.
Oh my Lord, that's fantastic. So you work with every studio?
Every studio
Nearly
except
every
for one.
Which one?
Disney.
Huh?
Disney.
Oh.
We don't work
They're
with
doing
Disney.
okay on their own.
Yeah, if you have Star Wars and Marvel and Pixar, you're okay.
Yeah, DC needs a little bit of help. But so how long have you been providing this type of data to the movie studios?
We started in 2009.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. So early 2010, we signed our first client, Universal Pictures, and it's escalated since.
Oh, fantastic! Now you also you're in order to, as well. I mean, you just won Tech Service of the Year Mirror Award just recently, right?
We did.
Was it this
did.
year?
It was this
That was
year.
this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic! Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. And for those of you who don't know what the Mirror Award is, it's a Indianapolis award from TechPoint, which is kind of all things industrial tech and marketing tech. And there's a lot of competitors each and every year, probably over 300 competitors.
Yeah, good amount. Yeah.
Yeah, a good amount. And fantastic. That's a great service. So 2009, you've been doing this.
So how did the company kind of exist? You guys said you came from a digital marketing background. Were you just sitting in a conference room one day and was like, I wonder if we can just predict movies? And is that how it started, or what was the start?
Can't hear you,
Close.
Tom. You need to speak up in the mic.
We were doing an ad campaign for a local ad agency for Microsoft, which was one of our clients at the time. And I was on site where this video was being released, and Jen was back here in the office. And all of a sudden, this video, which was only released into a room full of developers,
Right.
was suddenly trending on Twitter. And we didn't know what that meant.
And in 2009, Twitter was such a baby. Nobody really
Right.
knew what a trending topic was. We
Right,
couldn't
right,
measure it. And we were doing all of the other advertising analytics around this campaign, but we couldn't put numbers and meaning to what was happening. So it really started from a data analytics, advertising analytics place.
Yep.
But we very quickly moved into entertainment because films are very rich with data.
Right.
There's a repeated behavior, there's a scorecard every week, a certain genre should act a certain way. So we were able to tie together the data and the actual performance of the films and see, that what happened in social media really reflects what happens in the real world.
That's amazing, and I think that would be probably the most ripest industry to be able to clamber into this and appreciate this type of
A challenging industry,
Yeah.
not one that's really welcoming of outsiders, and not one where our Hoosier roots necessarily helped us.
Oh, come on.
But the good news, and one of the other reasons why we picked entertainment, was that you just take one flight and you're in the city where all of the clients are. They're all in LA, so we wouldn't have to hopscotch across the country or around the world. We could just go there, call on everyone that could use the services. And it's a relatively small town. Once you kind of break into the industry and start to work with the studios, you can really knock a lot of them down.
Huh. So you're saying, there's a barrier of entry. There was a barrier of entry.
Yeah.
How receptive are your clients to your data now?
Very
receptive.
Yeah. I mean, we do. Again, we work with nearly every studio. Probably 85% of all major wide releases we work on, and that's everything from early trailer analysis all the way through tracking and telling them how big the movie's going to be.
All right. Now another getting into the social media analytics world, the abuse of spam bots.
Yep.
And all the claptrap inside of just the fake news and the fake interaction. In fact, there was a news story just 3 weeks ago about all the click traffic from a Philippine bank of smartphones,
Yep.
where there were thousands of phones that people were just clicking on to build up click paths and click traffic. So there is an obvious continual spam agent that's out there, and it's used for so many different instances. Could this not also be exploited? I know you're going to say no because it's awesome stuff, but what's your vigilance to actually screen and clean that out?
Real people. So we're a mix of tech and service. We have real people reading and scoring these feeds, and when we see those patterns and we see unusual behavior, we're able to delete out all of that spam conversation. It happens frequently.
Now, I wouldn't doubt that at all. Yeah, especially if if the studios or the independents flew into, hey, the studios are using this data. Let's jam on. Let's make buzz.
But if it's fake, if it's coming out of a phone bank in the Philippines, it's not actually going to map to reality. So the studios themselves don't usually do anything like that.
Got it.
Yeah.
When we do find them, though, one of the ways that we're able to spot them so easily is that we have benchmarks for what the data should look like. So if a film suddenly has a massive spike, we can either know that they released a piece of content or there was some kind of news event around that film, or we can look and oftentimes it's a spam bot. We can right size the data to get rid of it.
So I saw on your website, it's also kind of interesting, you do entertainment, but you also work in other industries. Talk about some of those other industries you work on, and are there any other ones you're looking in the future?
Yeah, there's always expansion in entertainment, so more into television. We work with a handful of celebrities. There's more work to be done there. We have an international division, so we're in 14 international markets, so there's more expansion there. But we work in travel and tourism and millennial-focused retail, and those are both categories that are kind of hurting in their own ways.
Yeah.
Millennial-focused retail, you've got your traditional brick and mortar, really doesn't know where to go.
Absolutely.
And so we have a couple of flagship clients there.
That's really interesting because, as we understand millennial purchasing paths, it's right here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Exactly.
And that's such a challenge for brick and mortars. So how are they, if you can even talk about this, how are they exploring the use of your data to help them overcome what could be an atrophying scenario?
It's for all of our clients, it really is about a better understanding of their target audience. And so for the retailers, the more they can understand the purchase behavior, the path to purchase, but also what those audiences want in their stores. It's everything from, do we set up locations in the dressing rooms to have more of a selfie environment for people to be able to share, to when they're launching new product lines.
That's a slippery slope, you realize that.
It can be. But to even when they're going to be launching new product lines, what's going to be important, if they have a celebrity tied into it, who is the right celebrity. It has multiple layers to it.
Huh. Well, go ahead.
I would say we got a couple minutes left, so I wanted to, you guys wanted to talk about the Hatch too. That's where your offices are located, and you have a co-working facility? Kind of explain that.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, we were outgrowing our little house in Broad Ripple that our office was housed in. And we did a whole survey of the commercial real estate market in Indianapolis and just couldn't find anything appropriate. We have a very young staff, very energetic, they need to collaborate a lot. So we couldn't really find anything that we liked, and we decided to build it ourselves. So we built the Hatch with kind of the philosophy that we go to all these amazing places, these great office buildings and Twitter headquarters and movie studios, and we come back so inspired by the location that we've been in, and we don't have a lot of that here. So this is a traditional co-working environment, a very open, very diverse environment, very diverse membership base, and located in Broad Ripple. And so it's a separate company, but Fizziology is housed there. We have our own headquarter office there and membership, month-to-month membership.
The energy of collaboration and creativity that you feel when you're on a movie studio a lot, where you can just kind of grab a camera and make anything happen. We really wanted to create an environment that people could come in, pay a low monthly membership fee, and have that spirit. So we have some people who use it for just traditional co-working in an office setting for themselves. We also have a creative studio there with podcasting booth, with video and photography sections, with painting easels. So just a way for people to work in a way that hasn't previously been available in Indianapolis.
No, it's fantastic. So what has the response of your clients been to an Indianapolis headquartered office?
For Physiology?
Yeah.
It's always a little bit of surprise.
Yeah.
Really?
And, at first it was something that we didn't kind of proudly say out loud because we didn't know what the reaction was going to be. But it's since changed.
No Hoosier shame, come on.
Little Hoosier shame. But what ended up happening, what was so interesting, is once our clients knew us, respected our work, our data, our understanding of the industry, they really were taken with the fact that we were here. We have people who are analyzing these movies where they're not being swayed by conversation they overhear in a local restaurant, or I have a friend who read that script and they said it sucked. All that stuff that happens when you're inside the bubble of Los Angeles. We're outside of that. So there's a purity with our research and our methodology that I think all of our clients really appreciate. That they know that when they get it, it's straight shooting. It's nothing that's spun.
I can only imagine how refreshing it is to be able to have that counterpoint, because things get spun in LA so much.
Yes.
And I mean, buzz can be fabricated, and you've got influencers there that make things happen, and literally you can counterpoint that with, okay, this is what's trending, this is what's this is where the loyalists are, this is what the audience is looking for.
Yeah.
We really do feel like we have to honor the opinions of the people out there. We represent what the audiences at large are thinking and sharing with their friends and their family and their fellow fans. And it is our responsibility to take that and put it into a form that the studios and the filmmakers and everyone can take in and have really impact their film. So I think being here in Indianapolis, we have an ability to be closer to the audience than we could if we were in LA or New York.
So I got to ask, because we had a lot of PopCon fans here, can you mention any of the movies that you've actually done studies for?
Most of them.
Yeah, almost all of them. So I mean, everything from the releasing today with Spider-Man to later on this year, we're really looking forward to some movies we worked on for a while, like Blade Runner 2049.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be a great one, and that's one we've been working on for a while.
I bet the response is huge about Blade Runner.
It is.
Yeah, I bet.
Tremendous. That's going to be a special movie.
Yeah, fantastic. We're certainly asking for any questions from our audience. If you want to tweet to @_of_Indy, we can certainly give any questions to our audience. But I got to ask to our guests here. I got to ask, where in the world did the name Fizziology come from?
So we had been, when we were talking about what was happening in social, we kept using the term what's bubbling up, what's bubbling up in the conversation. And so Fizz was a natural fit, and it was the science and the study of what's bubbling up in the conversation.
All right. Well, that makes perfect sense, actually. Well, I got one more question here. Regarding observations that you've had on movies, did you ever completely disagree with what you were seeing come from social media regarding some of the movies that you were analyzing? I mean, you've got to have that. I mean, you don't obviously share it with your clients.
Right.
But I mean, could you not not believe Ben Affleck? You just couldn't believe that something was being accepted, or conversely.
There are always two sides to the conversations, so there's always one way that we can cite. So for those who really weren't happy with the Batfleck decision, there certainly were people who were. And that's the beauty of looking across all social. Well, I mean,
it's a little bit like
we give our opinion, but we state it as opinion.
Exactly, yeah, and we again kind of representing the voice of the people. It's kind of like having. Being mad at the song that's on the top of the pop charts.
Right.
It's what's popular. It's what popular opinion is. It may not necessarily be your cup of tea. I certainly have movies that I care more for than others, but from what we do, it really is, understanding and relating what's popular opinion.
Part of our training with our staff is every film has an audience. You may hate it, you may think it's horrible. Every film has an audience.
Oh, very cool. So. We talked about the different other areas, different verticals that you're taking. Are you looking at music?
We've done a little bit in music. It's hard just because the nature of the music industry has changed so much over the last 15, 20 years. that the labels aren't what the labels used to be, but we do some things in music. We help, especially for kind of soundtrack and trailer music for film and television. We'll do work around that. We are getting more conversations happening around sports, so that's another new category for us that we're moving into.
I was curious, politics, is that?
We have avoided it.
Yeah.
We could, absolutely. We're not going to.
You could, though.
We could.
We could. We did a little testing around it a couple of years back, and
2012.
then didn't have the stomach for it.
No, I recommend, yes, stay at the third rail right there. All right, well, for our audience, being a Indianapolis-based organization, organically grown, pun intended, from Indiana, what kind of recommendations can you give to other firms starting out to base their business here in Indianapolis as opposed to leaving to go to LA or go to Chicago? Because we're always focused on choosing local and on the show, and you certainly are a local firm that's done good. So,
thank you.
What kind of advice can you give other firms?
I think one thing that we think a lot about and talk a lot about is the fact that being local and being an Indianapolis business doesn't mean that you have to sell to Indianapolis. I think there is a geographic bias, and I think a lot of companies like ours would have, years ago moved the base of operations to Los Angeles. And anymore with the way that technology works with transportation, there's just not the need to do that.
Right.
I think the advice I would give to other Indianapolis businesses is to, be proud of being here and celebrate what's amazing about Indianapolis as a base for business, but also look to your client base outside of 465.
Yeah.
We have no clients inside of the state of Indiana, never have, and that hasn't slowed us down a bit. And I think there's a kind of a traditional methodology locally here in Indy of you sell local, you find a couple of key local clients, and then you grow. And I think for trying to try to swing hard and make a dent in the world, oftentimes you just need to get on that plane, go elsewhere, and sign up that business and bring that back, because bringing back that revenue to Indianapolis, that's that great circulation that really helps the market grow.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other way of really looking at it from how to invest in Indianapolis, instead of just bringing tech money here, bringing VC money here. Actually, just starting here, there's a great lifestyle, there's a great cost of living here, but going out, killing it, and then bringing it home. Fantastic. All right, well, thank you so much for your time today. Check out Fizziology and The Hatch. If you're an entrepreneur, you need a co-working facility in Broad Ripple, go up to The Hatch and check that out. You can see everything that Fizziology does at Fizziology.com. Facebook, Fizziology, obviously, and on all the socials, Fizziology. I don't think that name was taken.
It was.
It was.
No.
Wow.
There was a South African rapper who went by Fizziology, and luckily he
was he trending?
No. He had about 20 followers. Luckily he let it lapse, and we were able to swoop in and take it.
Oh my gosh, that was like David and Goliath. I mean, you quashed his dreams there.
Yeah, well, his flow wasn't great, so.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. You can follow our guests at Jen SVH, right? And SWEVEN Ben. Okay, you just flipped that around, didn't you?
Sweven Ben. That's it.
Go follow them on Twitter, and these are the folks that are guiding these studios to make casting decisions and following what you guys are doing in social media. So rest assured, they're manning the turrets and giving them great feedback to these movie studios. So thank you so much for your time. I think that's a wrap for today.
That's a wrap.
Just want to make sure that you pay attention to Edge of Indy. We're always focusing on choosing local businesses here in Indianapolis, and we really appreciate the time to be able to come out here. And thanks so much, Brad Shoemaker, for manning the board. Awesome guy from Creative Zombie. Thanks so much, and be sure to catch us next week as we're back in studio. Actually, the following week.
Following, yes.
So if you haven't checked out PopCon, check it out. Obviously, this is going to be airing after the show, but come back regularly to PopCon. It's a fantastic effort, fantastic event. All the PopConners, give us a big yell! All right, fantastic. That is Edge of Indy. See you real soon. Bye-bye.